Hey, how's it going, Ricardo? You doing all right
Hey,
today?
yeah, Cody. Thank you for having me, buddy.
Yeah, man. Oh, 100%. I really, really appreciate you sharing everything with us. Can you tell everybody your first and last name? Tell us the name of the academy and where you guys are.
Yes. So my name is Ricardo Silveira. We are located in Allen, Texas. My gym is called Legacy Jiu Jitsu, and as you guys can see on the back there, I have a affiliation with G13, which is pretty much my professor's academy, Roberto Godoy, and I'm from São Paulo, Brazil.
Awesome. Where's Allen, Texas? Where's that?
In DFW area.
Oh, okay,
So
got it.
yeah, it's big DFW, so it's suburbs of Dallas.
All right, all right.
It's
Can
like
you tell us like
40
everything you
minutes
guys
from
offer
downtown.
there?
Say again?
Can you tell us everything that you guys offer there, like the types of classes? You offer gi,
Yeah,
no gi, and yeah.
we offer basically BJJ. We don't do like Muay Thai or boxing. We are very focused on BJJ, and that was one of my choices back then when we got real estate. I was very focused in just BJJ because I want to really do one thing really well, not two, three things kind of halfway done. I am kind of guy who likes to do things all the way through and not half-ass things. And here we offer BJJ all the way across for kids, adults. We have women's classes. We have veteran classes. We try to build a lot of groups to make sure we are at, serving as many people as possible here in Allen, Texas.
Cool. What's the age groups in the classes? What's the age groups?
We start at 3 years old, all the way to six. Although 3 years old is always under evaluation, we gotta evaluate the
Yeah.
kid first to see if
I have
they're
a 3-year-old
potty
daughter.
trained. Yeah, if they're ready for the instructional class, which is like 45 minutes. But normally we do take majority of the 3 year olds all the way to six. Then we have a different group called Golden Samurai. It's a very popular group. We have like classes with 50, 60 kids sometimes. And then
Yeah.
goes ages from 7 all the way through 12.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we have adults classes where we have a program designed for beginners called Fundamentals. And then I have this class particularly, I have adults and teenagers because as soon they turn 13, I absorb them from Golden Samurai to Fundamentals class. And then we
Got
have
it.
all levels, which is the normal class for all belts together. Um, it's a lot of fun. We have a very, very good group of higher belts here. And I do have women's class, like I said, twice per week, morning time, just gals, no men's allowed in the house. The instructor is a girl, is a woman. Um, I try to make as chill as possible. Some women, um, Cody, they don't like sharing mats with guys. A lot of them have no problem with that, but some of them prefer having just their own time, and I respect that. That's why I
Yeah.
created this class where no men's allowed, just gals. So yeah, I have that twice per week, and also I have a competition class. Well, I have competition classes. I have one competition class for kids, but I don't do competition class for the toddlers. I just do competition class for the kids from 7 to 12.
Okay.
What else? And I have competition class for adults as well.
And do you see any? Do women ever do both the women's only and the regular class, or do you ever see any switch from women's only and then they go to the regular class, or vice versa?
Actually, the gals class, the women's class, started from the need of just having gals. Well, what I'm trying to say, all of these girls were from regular classes,
Yeah,
and they asked the possibility of having just women's class. With that said, I
got
do
it.
have both. I do have women that just come here for women's class. They don't feel comfortable, or they have their own religious reasons. I
Sure,
don't
sure.
know, right? And they just attend women's class. But I would say solidly like 80%, 70% do both. They join
Okay.
both groups. Yeah,
Yeah, they kind of take advantage of being able to come even more, right? Yeah, yeah.
exactly,
And I
exactly.
think
So,
there's,
for
of course, there's
instance,
different
like
elements to it. Yeah.
on Monday and sorry, Wednesdays and Fridays, I have women's class 9 a.m. and I have noon class, regular class, and a lot of these gals do both on those
Wow.
days. Yeah, yeah. Um,
You see that a lot in jujitsu. People just love it so much they go a lot. Like I think usually I'm thinking somebody who does it regularly is going like twice or three times a week, but oftentimes I'm hearing they're going like five or more times a week.
my recommendation is always hear your body, respect yourself, your boundaries, because as we grow old, we also learn that our body, especially after 40s, um, respond better with a certain amount of practice. Let's say back in the day when I was 25, I was totally fine doing 2 times jiu-jitsu every day from Monday to Saturday. So now I feel I'm more productive. I'm going to perform better if I rest a little bit more. So basically,
Mm-mm.
that's the
Maybe
idea, the
perform at the same
concept that
level,
I
if you
try to
will.
write. So you're
Yeah.
going to absorb better your body because recovery is training. I always say that recovery is training, so you need to recover. With that said, a lot of practitioners, guys or gals, they start super excited, hype it. Hey, well, I'm gonna do 5 times per week. I'm gonna come twice, and then I know how it ends. A lot of times they end up getting burnout after 2 months or 6 months, whatever. And then is when I have that kind of conversation with them. Say, look, it's not necessarily 5 times per week is gonna make you better than if you train 3 times per week. It all depends how you train, how you rest, how you think about jujitsu. Uh,
Like
yeah,
all things considered, yeah, yeah. I
all
think
considered.
I think people it's hard for them to at any age hard to understand the balance of that until you like experience your limit, I guess, right? Yeah. Um, what about what's the oldest? You don't have to say a name. I'm just kind of curious. What's the oldest person you've ever trained or trained with? I like
I'm
to
glad.
highlight
I'm
that so
glad you
people know.
ask. I'm glad you ask. I have this very unique case here. Her name is Donna, and I love saying her name because she is a warrior. This lady, 78 years old.
78. Okay.
78. She started with me as a white belt with 70, and now she's
Wow.
78. She's a brown belt. She comes every single day. She parks her car 15 minutes prior to class. She comes at noon most days. She parks her car about 15 minutes prior to class on the parking lot, and she waits. We open the gym. She's the first one to be here. She's consistent. I mean, it's
Hey,
very
that's
impressive.
consistency. Getting there 15 minutes early to
It
anything
is.
and
It
waiting.
shows,
I'm
right?
thinking
It
that
shows her
everybody's such.
level of commitment. The day
Yeah.
she have like labs or any sort, she texts me. She texts the coach, today I'm not gonna do it because I have this blood work, whatever. But I'm gonna be back tomorrow. The level of commitment of this person, it really inspires me. And she's 78. She's brown belt. And obviously, I don't want to disclaim. I want to make a surprise, but I'm excited because maybe this year something big is gonna happen for her as far promotion. And I'm super excited because
Okay.
I think it's a very unique case. I would say in the world. In the world. I mean, um, and the cool thing about her is not just her; is her family. Her son, Adam, is one of my coaches. He's a black belt. He's a very big, strong dude, but very technical, very good in jiu-jitsu. He's a big man, 240, 250 pounds. And then his wife is the one that runs my woman's class. She's a brown belt. And
Mm.
then we also, well, currently they are taking time off, but the grandkids from Donna, the kids of Adam and Laura, they also do jujitsu here with us, but now they're taking a time off. But basically, we have three generations here
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
of the
I've never heard
family.
of that
Yeah,
actually. Yeah. That's the first time I've
yeah,
heard
man.
it.
It's
Yeah. And
very
she
unique.
started at 70. She started at 70. That's
Started.
really cool.
And when these people start, obviously we need to take in consideration, Cody, their situation, right? And it's almost like, okay, good, cool, great for you, good choice for your life, but it's an impact sport, right? It's not easy for your
Yeah.
joints, you know that. Um, and we end up thinking, well, it's not gonna last long, or maybe it's a short journey. And the years pass, and this lady is still here every day. And I find out that for her works almost like a valve, escape valve. Like it's so important for her, socially wise.
Yeah.
Um, she lost her husband a few years ago. She was already training under us, and she lost her husband. And jujitsu for her became like her her place, man. Her community, in fact, for real. And I was talking to her 2 weeks ago, and she said, every time I go do I don't know the name, Cody. The bone density type of examination that measures the density of her bone. I don't
Sure.
know what that
Yeah.
is called, but elderly people, they apparently they need to do that often,
Yeah.
every year or every other year. And she said, since I started, all the doctors are so impressed because my bone density all the way until 70 years old was declining. And then when I started jujitsu, which is 8 years now, every single year my density is going up. The trend literally changed.
Yeah.
Um, and and all I mean, all her other numbers are flawless. She's a very very dedicated person, and I mean, obviously there's genetics on there, but I'm pretty sure jiu-jitsu it's helping her big time, on her third age, on her old
Yeah.
age.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know nothing about bone density, but yeah, of course, there's the correlation 1000%, So that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
Um, can you talk about kind of like your methodology in teaching jujitsu, how you go about it, your philosophy, maybe?
yeah. You know, I as every Brazilian folk individual from jiu-jitsu back in the day, I had a more narrow vision in jiu-jitsu, which was like competitions, performance. And you know I don't think when you are on your 20s, at least my example, myself, I don't think I had the full understanding what jiu-jitsu was, it is able to do to people. With that being said,
Mm.
when I start teaching here, back in because I moved from Brazil to Dallas in 2016. I started teaching 2016 here.
Okay.
I wasn't a 20 years old kid, but I was still a little bit with the mentality. I was changing at a point, philosophy wise, that jiu-jitsu was like more for the tough guys, the tough gals. And Cody, through the years, I've been changing, and I kept changing this concept every day, because once you start dealing with kids with totally different situations, elderly people, kids with special needs and etc., you start seeing like how this thing is powerful, man. How this thing can really affect lives in a positive way. Um, and then my philosophy now is totally different than my philosophy was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and probably is going to be different than my philosophy will be in 10 years from now.
Mhm.
But my gym now have this mentality of everybody's welcome. I have, like I mentioned before, so many different groups. I try to not that I try to absorb everybody, but uh, on the legit sense of what do you need, Cody? What is your situation? You're a dad, you are overweight, you have high blood pressure, you're dealing with emotional traumas, or you are a healthy guy, you're willing to, compete. Okay, let me hear your story. I want to hear from you. I want to understand what actually you need. And look,
Do you enjoy that, hearing that?
I do. I do, because this is gonna bring me the meaningful and the long-term relationships, with
Yeah.
my clients. um and I already did, Cody, believe me, guys who came here and that wasn't their vibe. I want to this thing. I want to, okay, let me give an example. My team is competing every weekend. I need like just completely hard training every day, and I got the vibe for the person that the person is just, concerned of like, not very concerned to the other people journey, the partner, just themselves, very inwards. I already had cases that said, man, I don't think my place is for you. I really don't.
Hmm.
Don't take me wrong. I want you getting the best for you. I want you going out there and finding the perfect, like a suit, like a very tailored suit. I want you getting that for you. So if I don't
Yeah.
fit you perfectly, I'm not gonna fool you, man. I'm not gonna fool. And this is the same mentality already happened with kids. I mean, again, I try to absorb, but first, most important, I try to understand if I can provide what this person needs. I think it's very
Okay.
important a conversation with parents, for example. What are your expectations for the kids program? What are you expecting from your kid? What are you expecting from my gym, my instructors, my structure? You know what I mean? I think all these questions are gonna take you 10 minutes and it's gonna save you from so much headache and future problems, which I already had. Look, I'm telling you those things based on pure experience. So
Mm. Yeah, it's
if
like a
I
very mature mindset. Very, yeah,
right,
mature
because
mindset as far as your
I,
journey as a teacher. Yeah.
I didn't ask those things before. And I used
Yeah.
to, oh, you want to sign up? Let me sign up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then after a couple weeks, months, I start seeing the level, the discrepancy about what they were expecting from what I can offer, you
Yeah.
know. And this is something I already had bad experiences here of parents that are, for example, I'm going to give you one example, very rough with their kids during the practice. They
Mm.
are zero belts. They're below white belts, and they're super mean to their kids. And
Mm.
they want to coach their kids, and even though they don't know zero about jujitsu.
Yeah.
And can I tell something? I got the vibe when they sign up, but I didn't talk to them. So they end up signing up and creating problems. So
So
this is
that can
one
rub off
example.
onto it can affect the atmosphere at the very least. Yeah.
Ruins the atmosphere. Ruins.
Yeah.
It's like eh, uh, I don't. It's a cancer. It's a cancer that is spread out, into your community, into your philosophy. That's why today I have a couple questions, and I don't want to, brag, but particularly I'm good at it. I can read people relatively well. So obviously, when I feel that is super lovely lady with her two kids, I don't ask certain questions. I try to filter based in the vibe I get.
Yeah.
Obviously to make this inquisition blah, 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 is not the case. But it's not a formal conversation, but is just a
It's
quick
an important
talk.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, can you take me back to, kind of how did this all begin for you in your journey? How did it start? Were you like a year and a half old or what? How did you get into it? And Tell me why you enjoyed it. Just tell me your whole journey of, why you continued it and why you wanted to start an academy and why was that important to you, all that kind of stuff, and all the way to here, where we are
Yeah,
now.
well, it was in Brazil, right? I'm from São Paulo, central part. Um, and in Brazil, I always say that it's different. We don't have many options. When you're a kid, you don't have options like, oh, am I going to do? Baseball, basketball, football, whatever. In Brazil, you pick like, what do you want to do? You want to do soccer? You want to do jiu-jitsu? I mean, it's not going to
Okay.
go much far away from that. And I always was horrible in soccer, by the way. And then obviously I picked jiu-jitsu, um, also because my brother, which is 10 years older than me, and he's a black belt, he was into jiu-jitsu already, but I'm talking 1994, 1995. Like even in Brazil, in São Paulo especially, jiu-jitsu was very rudimental back then, in a sense of not many gyms. What do we see here, Cody, nowadays, like kids program, women's program? I mean, forget about it. We have one class, two classes per day, just tough man, just tough dude. If you're not tough enough, this isn't your place. That you have no
It's
business being
still
here.
that way there now, or it was at that point?
At that point, mid
Okay.
90s, you know what I mean, or 80s. But I'm gonna get there on your question.
And it's
So
not even here yet, of course, not really at
right,
all.
so we learn a lot from America. Brazil, the
Okay.
way we conduct the business of jiu-jitsu in Brazil is crazy, right? Because we invented the thing. Is a okay? This is a different discussion, but
Okay.
then America, after many years, taught Brazilians how to do business in jiu-jitsu, in a sense to
Mhm.
be more polished, in the sense to be more professional. Zero professionalism back then. Zero, just like I said, a class for tough guys. And I was a kid. I was just 12 years old. And my brother he's
What
10
was the
years older.
youngest they would take back then?
Oh, no, it wasn't for 12 years old at all. Was, I would
Okay,
say, at least for 17,
got it.
18. You know, once you have a man structure, body wise, you were good to go, right? And I wasn't at that point. But my brother was going, and I used to go with him, and not even doing jiu-jitsu, just hanging around, you know.
Mhm.
And I was the little kid running around, and then the guys were like already wearing my gi, but like taking us a like what this is called when they don't take you seriously on a team. I don't know if there's a American expression for that. We in Brazil we call café com leite, which is like milk and coffee together. Like it is not
Uh,
serious, whatever. And then I was growing into it. I was getting older, and then start training and start being part of this group. Obviously, with 15 years old, I was already able to be training with those guys, which was really good on the sense of, you know, creating a thicker skin and being more tough with just older guys. That was really good, on that sense. But it wasn't the best environment. Back in the day, jiu-jitsu in Brazil was a little bit different as far culture. A lot of fights, a lot of brawls in the street. The academies were very rivals. So
okay.
when I tell you that we learn a lot from the way Americans do business, because think like that, Cody. Back in the day, no internet, no Instagram, no YouTube, nothing. The technique that the professor holds were like a treasure. So it couldn't
Yeah.
be spread out. Is our war secret. See, so if you train on the team A and I train on the team B, we cannot share the technique. That was almost like
Okay.
a scene, right? And the gyms were very rival when we hang out at nightclubs. Oh, now we have a group from this other gym, we are from this gym, and things not always ended well. But was a time that was necessary for the the growth of the sport. So I
Mhm.
started with a Gracie guy, Renzo's Gracie brother, Hyan Gracie.
Can
When
I
I
ask one
first,
question real
oh
fast
yeah,
before we move forward? I want to ask,
yeah, yeah.
was it like a big business? Was that a part of it back then, or was it not really? They weren't making any money at all, or they're making a little bit of. I mean, what was like the were people paying to go, or not really? That's what I'm asking.
Yes
Is it
and
just like
no.
a
Good
club, or is it like a
question, but
business?
wasn't right. Wasn't business oriented. Wasn't for the profit.
Yeah.
Yes, a membership existed back then, but you
Okay.
had like 50% of people who didn't pay, because they're friends of the professor, because they're, and there's a lot of layers on that, but essentially, wasn't nobody used to make money
Okay.
from jiu-jitsu in Brazil. It was really complicated, almost impossible. Well, with that being said, I took a different route in my life at some point because I was literally starving. I was literally like, man, I cannot make my livelihood through this. And then I graduated. I worked on the financial field for many years too. But back on my jiu-jitsu journey, I started with Ryan Gracie, which is Renzo Gracie's brother. Because my older brother used to train with Ryan, I trained with Ryan. I don't know if you ever heard, Ryan was a very special character. He
No, I.
was a very controversial guy. He passed away in 2007. He had his problems. He's a guy who I respect, but was a complicated person on the personal level. Very talented though, very talented. He's Hansel Grace's younger brother, and at some point was not sustainable being trained with him anymore. He was like doing very weird stuff with his life and everybody around him. Unfortunately, he got into drugs and very sad things. And I ended up moving from the most rivalry in Sao Paulo, which was Gracie Sao Paulo, led by Ryan Gracie, to a place called Godoy Macaco, which was lead for Roberto Godoy, my professor, and Jorge Pacino Macaco, which is back then Roberto's Godoy business partner.
Got it.
Um, right. And so basically, just a little like landscape, a big picture for you. Back in the day in Sao Paulo, Ryan Gracie came from Rio and he took over the place. Now, this is my place because Rio already back then had a lot of jiu-jitsu gyms, but Sao Paulo was a very not explored place yet. And Ryan, when he came, he basically put his flag. He said, I own this place now. And everybody, goes like, and he could be, I'm not gonna lie, a violent, very violent guy at times. Well, and then Roberto Godoy it is from São Paulo. And Roberto Godoy and Jorge Pachin, it is from São Paulo as well. They were the only ones in São Paulo back then that said, not here, buddy. Not here. We are from São Paulo. We own this place, not you. And the both gyms were these both gyms were the biggest gyms in São Paulo. So then for years were this big rivalry about, those two groups. Well,
Mm.
when I moved to Godoy Macaco was a big thing because again they were the biggest rivals, and I remember the day I went to the gym to ask Roberto Godoy permission to be part of his group. And I remember going to the gym was a competition training at noon on a Tuesday. I went there myself. And I remember guys were there. Everybody was a little bit after the practice. They were lifting weights. They dropped the weights. And then from long distance, one guy called Adriano Maciel Magrão, which is my friend. Another, hey, what are you doing here? Are you lost? Because they knew I were from a different team, a different, always competing against and being from a different flag, right?
Yeah.
Different, I said, yeah. And everybody started kind of, making fun. Oh, look who is here. yeah, I think he's lost. Julio, do you think he's lost? Blah, blah, blah. And and I was okay. I'm prepared, man. I know whatever it takes, And yeah, I came here to talk to Roberto Godoy. Oh, Roberto Godoy is waiting you. And then I went there. Godoy was there, and Godoy had this very particular way to talk. And he said, "Yeah, tell me your story." But he knew it already that I had a problem with Ryan. He was already. And then
Mm.
I told him my situation, and then I hear you. He said, "Look, you asking me to train here under my gym now. It's fine, but seems like you're having a situation with Ryan, a problem with Ryan, right?" I said, "Well, he have a problem with me, essentially." Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. But Roberto said, "You're coming here to train here. You asking me to come here to train here. So if you don't stick with me now, you're gonna have problem with Ryan, and you're gonna have problem with me, with both." And
Yeah.
then I said, "Well, right, I got it. No, I'm not intending to go anywhere else." Well, and I am with Roberto, but not because of that. Now we are good friends. He's my one of my my one of my the people that I get inspired from. He's a phenomenal guy. But back then were the terms, and since then I'm with him. It's been over 20 years.
You
Yeah.
don't want any problems with somebody else.
No, and I don't want to. Believe me, I'm not there because I'm being obligated. I'm there because I really like, the people there. I make, phenomenal friends at G13. G13 is one of the biggest, if not the biggest academy in São Paulo, Brazil, as far like affiliations and number of practitioners. And Roberto
Mm.
Godoy have over, I want to say 80, 90, almost 100 affiliations in São Paulo.
Yeah.
And now, back 4 years ago, he moved to U.S. In North Carolina to start do his affiliations here in America. And I am
Mhm.
the first affiliation in Dallas, Texas. Yeah,
And then when you moved here, what year was it? Did you move straight to Allen from Brazil or anywhere else?
I moved straight from Brazil to Plano, which is very near to Allen, and I am here
Mm.
since then. So,
Yeah.
but
Why
back
did you move
then,
there? Why did you move there?
huh?
Why did you move to Texas at all? Why?
Why at all? Well, back then I was living a more corporate life in São Paulo, doing jiu-jitsu, but jiu-jitsu wasn't my breadwinner source,
Yeah.
and then I don't know, Cody, I wasn't very happy back then. I was 32 years old, and you know, I was like, I always had this dream of living in US, and I really started, and was weird because I forgot about that for many years. I was like convinced I'm not gonna live in US. I live in São Paulo. I make good money here. In fact, I'm doing well professionally. But I don't know, man. When I turned 32, something hit me. I gotta try that. I gotta try living in US. I really want to. I want to change my life. São Paulo is a 12, almost 14, I would say, million people city. The traffic is insane. People sometimes complain about LA traffic. I've never been in Sao Paulo. Sao Paulo is a
Mm.
hell. Um, Very complicated place, a violent place. So basically, I was spending 6 hours of my day in a car since I was like on the sales part, 7, 8 hours per day in a car.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, nuts. I was a little bit overweight. And then it was a life decision. I said, I gotta try that. And then I had a girlfriend back then, and she told the day I mentioned that she was the first one that said, "Let's go." She never like. She also had a career there, but was crazy how easy was to convince her. But I didn't have to convince her at all. And then,
Okay.
okay, is this happening? Yeah, okay.
I think
And
when
then
you
I
have
talked to a
somebody in
friend
your life
here.
that's kind of like not necessarily pushing it, but like, oh, 100%, that makes a big difference. Yeah.
I, to be honest, I was needing a confirmation of what I wanted to do, and she was
Sure.
this confirmation.
Sure.
And I had a friend here. I have a friend here that lives here, and I talked to him. He's a jiu-jitsu black belt, and he said, "Man, you should come to Texas." Because at that point, I was just talking to my friend. Man, I want to go. I think I will. I just know where. And he said, "Come to Texas. Come to
Yeah.
Texas, because this is where the scene of jiu-jitsu, the scenario is, growing. Is the fastest growing jiu-jitsu place in America probably right now. You should come to Texas." And I said, "Okay." I started doing my research, my due diligence, my homework, and that, man, took me like 40 days from the decision, like the day, not the decision, the day I probably start thinking about to the day I was
Yeah.
here. Took me 40 days. So wasn't anything very well planned. Years of planning, zero. I was super, super fast. And then I came from Sao Paulo to Plano, which is a suburb near here, Allen. And yeah, man. And since then, I'm here. I started working initially as a jiu-jitsu instructor for
Mhm.
this Gracie Gym affiliation. So
Mhm.
those people are super important in my life. Shout out to Dean and Tammy. Those people literally make my way here in America so much easier. They helped me so much on my beginning, and I'm so grateful for them.
Mhm.
Basically, this is a couple where weren't jiu-jitsu related. They just purchased a gym as a side business. The Dean had his corporate job, and they decided as a couple, let's invest our money in some, side hustle, side business. And they end up
Mhm.
buying a place called Gracie Gym. And by the time they bought this place, they were needing a coach. So my wife met Kivia Gracie. My wife, no, my back then, my girlfriend, the girl I came with. She met
Mhm.
Kivia Gracie, and she said, "Look, Kivia, my boyfriend, he is a jiu-jitsu black belt, and he needs job. He needs work." And Kivia said, "Wow, sounds like on the right time because I'm selling my gym, Gracie Gym, to this couple, Dean and Tammy." And then when was introduced to Dean and Tammy. And since the day one, they were super welcoming. They kind of, "Hey, Ricardo, we're gonna take care of you. Come here." I mean, obviously, they got to know my work. Since once they realized I was a professional guy, I had like I was invested with their gym. They start like helping me, man, with visas and stuff. And fast forward, I know they end up selling the gym years later from me. I bought out the business from them. After
Got
growing
it.
the business for several years, I I I asked them. They were already exiting from jujitsu at that point, and then I offered them to buy their part, and I took over in 2021 entirely,
Mhm.
and I rebranded. We are called back then SIA, which is stands for Sharpen Iron Academy. So okay, Dean and Tammy, they bought the gym from Kivia Gracie, um, called Gracie Gym. They rebranded the business SIA, and
Yeah.
then I bought from Dean and Tammy. I rebranded Legacy Jiu Jitsu. So that's a
Mhm.
long story, short story, but yeah.
No, no, no. It's an amazing story.
Yeah, and we are here in Allen, man. I'm teaching here over 10 years now, or about that. Yeah, it's been
When you started, like, what was your kind of, mm, you know, I guess you hit on it before, right? At that point, what did you want to make of it? What did you want to accomplish other than teach jiu-jitsu day to day? What did you want? What was your overall mission at that point when you started?
that
You're
honest.
laughing.
I want to pay my bills,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I want to find a job, pay my bills, and since I moved from Brazil, the most logical thing for me wouldn't be working on the financial field, for example. Would be with jiu-jitsu, which was always my thing my entire life. And okay, I can start working with jiu-jitsu, but again, I didn't know what route I would take here in America, when I moved. Well, I started working with jiu-jitsu, and then the answer was super fast. Once I started working with jiu-jitsu here in America, and I felt the difference because don't forget
Yeah.
that the reference I had from jiu-jitsu was Brazil, like
Mhm.
where the business were like not good businesses, right? Especially in
Yeah.
2015, not something. And when I came here, I understood that, well, is that doable? Can I really do what I love and make money off it? Is that really possible? And you know, I quickly saw it was possible, and it is possible, right? And then I started like growing the business with Dean and Tammy from 0 students to over 200 students.
Mhm.
Obviously, it took me years to do that,
And there was a
and then
progression of, kind of like your
crash.
overall mission of what you're trying to accomplish. That's what you explained at the very beginning, right?
Yeah, and then once I understood that I could live out of jujitsu, and I started envisioning, well, I want to do things more on my way, because I work for this couple. They're amazing. I love them from that. But, normal. If you're my partner, sometimes you can have different visions of things, and they have
Sure.
one vision. I have different vision of certain things. And then when I started having a little bit of, okay, I want to do things a more certain way, more particular way. And it's when our ways start deviating more, and when I asked them to look, if I want to make things the way I want, my philosophy, my mentality, my way to do things, I need to be the owner. I cannot be asking the permission or asking if they agree with every single thing.
Sure.
Well,
Sure.
if I want
That's
to
nice.
be the owner, I need to buy out the business. And I
Mhm.
asked them, guys, I love you, but I want to buy the business from you. How much is worth it? And then we negotiated. We got an agreement, and I feel very proud. Being grateful is a big thing for me. I don't think a lot of people in jiu-jitsu sometimes unfortunately understand that. I'm saying that because it's countless times I saw instructors that were very helped, and the second they saw opportunity of renting the place next door, taking all the students without saying a word as they were working there, and just, hey, come
Oh,
to a new place, come, yeah, let's do this together. Yeah, these people are not good people. Wait, why they're not good people? Just because they don't agree with you right now? But what all the help they give you back then? Why all of a sudden you forgot them? Well, we see a lot of that in jiu-jitsu, unfortunately, and I didn't do that. I feel great about it. The way I acted with these people was from the front door. We are still friends, and I love them, and we still have a great relationship. And man, that's why I believe, at least on the personal level, that how people should do things in life, taking the big picture in consideration, not just isolating, like in a relationship with your wife.
yeah.
Oh, I'm fighting my wife now because she said this thing, and this week she's being this way. Right, I understand. But what about the 10 years we were together? I mean, and look, I totally understand everything in life is, pros and cons. If you're not happy, you have all the right to exit. But, I'm very, I'm very advocate to leaving through the front door, not the back door.
Mm, mm,
People's
mm.
life or situations, leave through the front door, not don't leave through the back door. So yeah, and
Yeah,
now
that's
we're
awesome,
here,
man.
man. Yeah,
And that's another mature aspect of you, man. That I'm hearing. Like, it's hard to get to that place where you're kind of seeing something in such a, zoomed out view. Yeah, and make a decision based on that. Especially when it comes
yeah,
to like very
because
serious things like business or something that's, your livelihood, your everything kind of thing. Yeah,
yeah, well, it's all about putting your head on the pillow and sleep in peace, man. I'm all that.
sure.
I want to sleep well. I don't want to feel any way about it. Anything. I want is sleep. I want to have a good night of sleep every night.
What do you think? What is the biggest thing that jujitsu has provided for your life over the years? What is the? I know there's a lot of things, but what is like the when you think of it, the main thing, the most
Main thing,
important thing that it provided you?
friendship, friendship,
Friendships.
friendships. Yeah, friends, long-term friends. You know, obviously, majority are not friends or colleagues, but you know, it's it's a brotherhood, man. If you have the right place, I don't know. I mean, my experience.
Sure.
That's the only experience I can talk about is my own. But let's say I'm living here for over 10 years. When I go back to Brazil, I go to the HQ, the headquarters of G13. It's like I saw these guys yesterday. We are
Yeah.
like super good friends, making fun of each other, and on a good sense, and being good pals. And I mean, is and even like on events like tournaments or things, it's legit. Obviously, as every field, you have not very good people, but my experience, man, I would say jiu-jitsu, field, the community of jiu-jitsu is a good community, man. Is made up with a lot of well-intentioned, good, intrinsically good people, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Seems like it creates like humble people. And of
right.
course, that creates more friendly, if you will, put it that way, people. Um, what about if somebody comes to you and asks, what can jujitsu do for their kid? What would you, how would you
Wow,
explain to them?
wow, wow. Big passion. Well, I I can start, Cody, telling you like from the the skill part. Like jiu-jitsu is gonna improve your kid coordination, eye hand coordination. A lot of kids, majority of the kids, they don't have any body awareness when they come here. Some do because they are involved with other sports. But one particular thing that jiu-jitsu connects your upper body with your lower body. I'm telling you
Mm.
that because a lot of kids don't have core. They don't understand core. It's just a part that is. They have legs. They can run.
You're
They
talking
can
about, yeah,
push,
core. Yeah.
but they have no connect. Is not connected. And
Okay.
jujitsu can from this very particular like physical standpoint, right? Is gonna work on your core in such a great way that is going to improve whatever you're involved in your life. Basketball, volleyball, you name it, wrestling. Jiu-jitsu is going to elevate your game. So that's the first thing I tell parents from the physical standpoint. Jiu-jitsu is going to make your kid more coordinated, improve their stance, their posture, and get them to perform better in whatever they do.
It's
Now,
definitely working muscles that are not worked in a lot of other sports.
in the way that is, I want to say, man, is a handful of sports existing that will work core on that level. It's very special. um you know um Even it's funny because sometimes I have guys coming here in very good shape, big guns, shoulders. Yeah, I'm in really good shape. I want to do a trial class. Okay, let's do it. And then I'm well known by pushing the warm-ups really hard. Obviously there's levels. If I'm talking about competition class or beginners class, is different. But I try push the limit. I mean, close to the limit. So, and then this guy's in good shape. They come back 2 days later saying, "Man, I didn't know I had those muscles back on my lats or abs. I mean, I'm feeling some aches that I never felt in my entire life." And again, I'm talking about guys who are into lifting, running, cycling,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, it's very different. The muscle groups that you can achieve, you can hit in jiu-jitsu.
Mhm.
This is one thing, and the other part obviously is the mental part. right? Well, what can jujitsu can do for my kid? I mean, yeah, 2 weeks ago your kid wasn't able to look my face. Now he's looking faces,
Yeah.
shaking hands. You know, and I am big on these things here, man, at my gym and all my coaches. I have an amazing team. We are like I want to say 9 coaches total, 9, 10. Um, and we all here we understand the assignment. We are here to. It doesn't matter how long will be the jiu-jitsu journey. Sometimes, unfortunately, it's not long enough. It's gonna be just 2 months. Sometimes it's 5 years. Sometimes it's more. Whatever it is, I want this practitioner, kid or not, or dude or woman, whatever, leaving the program better than they came initially, right?
Mhm.
So I am big on kids. Yeah, make eye contact. So every time we finish the class, we bow, shaking hands. We do this thing. We say thank you for each other. And hey, buddy, hey, let's say Cody, a kid Cody, why not look into me, buddy? Look in my eyes, shake my hand. Why are your hands so flimsy? Shake my hand, buddy. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I
Little
really,
things that make a difference. Yeah.
right, I really want to achieve those kind of things on kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as far jiu-jitsu is merely a consequence. It's merely a consequence. If they stick with the program, which I have a very well structured program here, yeah, they will be very good in jiu-jitsu at some point. But I'm more concerned with, their personal development. This is what pays off me the most, honestly.
Well, thank you so much, man, for your amazing perspective. I mean, I feel very lucky for you to be on and sharing all this with everybody.
Brother, thank you.
To wrap it up, what would you like to say to your community at the Academy at Legacy? What would you like to tell them?
So, thank you for sticking out for so many years. A lot of people I have here, they are with me so many years. I have a bunch of white from white to black belts. I have 3 generations, like mentioned to you here. I have a lot of this dynamic of parents and kids training jujitsu together. So thank you. I want to say thank you for my community. Thank you for trusting my work, my gym, my team. I want to say thank you for my team, Billy Diego, Adam Nunali, Rogério Leite, Laura Nunali, Marissa Trevino, Vince, James, Matt Romanas. Please don't let me forget anyone. I mean, I have so many good coaches here, so many good people that I'm glad to be involved with them.
Well, thank you so much, man, for your kind heart. It comes out through your story. It really does, and what you're doing for everybody. You're on social media, of course, right?
We are Legacy um, uh, dash BJJ because we have other legacy jiu-jitsu gyms around like in Oklahoma, blah blah. So our legacy BJJ is TX, stands obviously for Texas. Yeah, we are on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and yeah, we are there, man.
Yeah, yeah, in Allen, Texas. Hey, man,
Allen, Texas.
hope you have an
And
amazing day.
please come visit us, man.
Is
Yeah,
it?
I hope you,
Oh yeah,
whenever you
100%. I
hear,
will. Yeah,
you can come to, you're gonna be more than welcome to visit us.
I think maybe next year we're going to start traveling a lot, and yeah, I'll be able to come by. My uncle lives in oh gosh, I'm going to forget the name. Little town, the nicest little town in America, whatever it's called. It's west of Dallas. Uh, I
Do you
forgot
remember
what
the
the name
name?
is. Can't remember the name of the place. But anyways, yeah, we're gonna go visit them. I think maybe sometime soon, and I'll 100%
Yeah.
stop by.
When
I've
you're
enjoyed
here,
talking to you,
you're gonna be
Ricardo.
welcome here. You're gonna love it.
I hope you have an amazing day, man.
Thank you, Cody. Thank you, brother. See you later. Bye.
See you, man. How's it going, Michael? You doing all right today?
Doing great.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it. You taking your time to share your story and what jujitsu's done for your life.
Mhm.
Um, Can you tell everybody your first and last name, the name of the place, and just tell us like where you guys are and everything
Sure.
you offer there?
Okay. So yeah, I'm Michael Heinz. I have a bit of a nickname, Magic Texas Mike. Um, there's a story behind that, but I have an academy in New Braunfels, Texas, which is kind of, if you have like San Antonio on one side, Austin on the other side, kind of right, maybe about roughly in the middle between those two is New Braunfels. It's a little
Okay.
slice of heaven. We got rivers that are green, emerald green, freshwater springs. They're amazing. It's a great place to live. I own and operate SBG New Braunfels Brazilian Jiu Jitsu School. We offer classes for kids and adults in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, gi, no gi, and we also have a very strong Muay Thai program. All right, and overall, our jiu-jitsu, like all jiu-jitsu in the SBG, universe, um, the goal is to have jiu-jitsu that works well in gi, no gi, MMA. You shouldn't have to make enormous adjustments when you switch things. If you have to make enormous adjustments, then your jiu-jitsu is not fundamentally strong, in my opinion. So like you should be
Hmm.
strong in all things. And yeah, that's what were the did I cover everything in there or
Yeah, yeah, it does. Next question I would ask is, um, of course, I don't have an opinion on this, but I'm sure you have somewhat of an opinion. Why Muay Thai over kickboxing? I would just ask that.
more limbs? So you're using more. It's closer to the kind of kickboxing that translates best into MMA, and MMA is the
Mm.
closest to the real thing. So it's nothing against American kickboxing, nothing against boxing. I did boxing for half a decade, but if you've got elbows and knees, you should know how to use them. My goal is
Yeah.
to make people. I want to make as many good people dangerous to bad people as possible. And the more
Mm.
dangerous I make you, the more I've succeeded at my goal.
Mm. Yeah, and the more limbs, the more dynamic they can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Um, do you implement striking in your jujitsu classes at all, or is it completely two separate classes? I know it's two classes, but do you ever mix them in any way?
In my foundations curriculum, the curriculum that people start with in my program does definitely involve strikes, and particular more defensive, how to not get hit. And you
Mm.
can see that whole curriculum. It's actually on BJJ Fanatics. It's a three-part series: Practical Jiu-Jitsu 1, 2, and 3. If you don't
Yeah.
mind, I'll read the titles because the titles are quite fun. Practical
Mm.
Jiu-Jitsu Volume 1 is everything from punches and tackles to drunk uncles and handguns. All right.
Okay.
Volume 2 is using your legs to defend, strangle, and knock teeth out. And volume 3 is from the bottom to the top with all your teeth.
Okay. Got
So
it.
very much we are concerned with the ability, especially when I teach jujitsu. I think when people first learn jujitsu, the most important stuff for them to learn is the stuff that would be life-saving. And
Yeah.
as you then you do it, and as you do more, naturally a lot of what ifs come up. Like people are like, well, what if the guy does this? What if the guy does that? I have a more advanced program where we start looking at jujitsu versus jujitsu essentially, or jujitsu versus trained fighter. For me, jujitsu versus untrained fighter is what my practical jujitsu curriculum is what are the if we look at people in the way that they conduct themselves in an attack when they are untrained, there are really high probable things that they're going to do because what they're doing
Right.
is largely based on genetics. Basically, that's the way humans attack and fight is they have kind of genetic predispositions to attack in certain ways. And jujitsu in its starting phase, I think for a student is great to have really strong responses to those highly probable situations and really
Yeah.
build a strong game around that. And then we start building the game to cover the what ifs, mostly because we enjoy the process and we want to expand and just be better. But I think a person who did like my practical jiu-jitsu curriculum start to finish, really trained that up is going to win fights against untrained people within their general size category, assuming they're not taking on like a starting NFL linebacker or something like that.
Yeah.
I have a quick aside on that. I get that question. I've actually gotten that specific question more than a few times, which is, do you think like a small woman with jujitsu could beat a starting NFL linebacker? And my opinion on the matter is the odds that you will ever meet a starting NFL linebacker are like far less than 1%, let alone be attacked by that person. So it's not really a relevant situation to be like highly prepared for. And then
Mm,
the other thing I would just say is I like the girl's odds with jujitsu a lot more than I like her odds without jujitsu.
mm.
Without jujitsu, I don't think she has any chance. With jujitsu, she has some chance. But yeah, starting NFL linebacker is a dangerous human being. They're almost a martial artist. They're hitting people all day. So
Mm,
they're not like someone uh completely foreign to conflict and physical violence. Like so they're not really untrained in some sense. Like
mm-hmm.
And you've gone over it a little bit, I think, but can you
Mhm.
tell us like your philosophy on teaching jujitsu, kind of your overall methodology, that kind of thing? Can you get into that?
sure. Sure. So, I mean, well, what I've told you is what I believe is important in terms of outcomes, in terms of methodology. Um, my wife and I run this gym. Both of us have degrees in education. My previous profession was I was a professor. I have a master's in education. So, education is important to me. And I've been a teacher of some variety essentially for like over 25 years or something, way before I ever opened the gym. So teaching methodology matters a great deal to me. I believe that to really effectively teach people jujitsu, you need to create a safe structures. I think is incredibly important to make sure that they can keep training. Like you just have people roll around like crazy, like people just get hurt, especially at the adult level. The younger the student, the more I'm going to loosen the restrictions on some level. When they're very little, I don't
Yeah.
give them a ton of instruction. I have them kind of just move around and hey, just get on top, stuff like that because
Yeah.
they're not capable of taking in that information. But at an adult level, we start with information, we start with drills that are actually relatively dead. In the same way that, in my mind, if I was going to teach you to hit a baseball, I'm going to have you put it on a tee and get good at swinging before I ever start having you actually start trying to hit a live pitch. Like
Mhm.
now, and those pitches are going to start underhand and they're going to move to overhand later. I think that pretty much sums up physical skill acquisition in an intelligent way. If you were to start now, once you have graduated to the point where you are competent in a relatively dead drill, then we are going to have an alive drill where you have a resistant opponent, meaning someone who also has goals. So now they're trying to achieve a goal and you're trying to achieve a goal. We call that aliveness. The head of SBG coined that term 30 years ago, Matt Thornton.
Say it
And
one more
aliveness
time.
is Matt Thornton.
The term
Aliveness. Aliveness.
aliveness. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Training with aliveness will determine whether a martial arts technique is functionally valid or not.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
if you face someone who has competing legitimate goals, like, and the more you open up the restrictions on what someone can do, the more you're going to get a sense that whether those things are valid in terms of actually working. And I think the UFC has borne that out essentially over the last 30 years.
Mhm.
We've seen certain martial arts rise to the top because when we reduce the restrictions on the competitive environment, we
Yeah.
see certain things continue up. And what we see across the board with most of those things is why do they rise to the top? Why does wrestling, judo, Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, I'm sure I'm forgetting something, boxing, kickboxing, why do they rise to the top?
Mm.
Because of the amount of aliveness that they train with in their actual training.
Got
And the
it. Yeah.
more and the more dead a martial art is when it trains, like you're doing a kata, but you're not dealing with resistance. I'm not down on kata altogether, but like someone's gonna comment, my kata's amazing
Where
or
you're going over
something.
the
But like
specific reason. Yeah.
but at the same time, we can see that without an aliveness process in your martial arts training, when it goes live, when it goes real, there are many adjustments that have to be made and often are not made. So the ability to adjust to a living, breathing, resisting opponent is incredibly critical to your development. And we all want to keep that safe because getting injured doesn't help you improve. But at the same time, no resistance means kind of no progress in my mind. You're not actually used to dealing with someone who wants to stop you and wants to do something to you. So,
Mhm.
When you don't have to get into like your complete story yet, but I just
Mhm.
wanted to, because since we're talking about the present, when you
Yeah.
started the academy, what was your mission? Or what
Make the
go ahead.
Yeah,
And
very
has it
simple.
morphed any? Is it morphed any over the years?
Not a bit. So I opened the gym in 2020. Um, we went through the COVID era and all of that. We did all that. But and I was a purple belt when I opened my gym, actually. Very successful gym, even in the first year, even with all the COVID shenanigans and all that kind of stuff. God bless Texas. But on the other
Yeah.
side of it, the goal was always very simple: make good people dangerous to bad people. And I have not, I think, changed or wavered in that. I think we expanded into Muay Thai, added that as a program years in because we saw the need and the desire for people to do that. We are expanding more into MMA, like MMA specific programming.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I think at the same time, our competitive jujitsu branch is expanding at the same time as our kind of MMA stuff. So even though sometimes people see those as like kind of in opposition, I don't feel as such. Last year, my adult team won Grappling Industries in San Antonio. 2 weekends ago, my kids team won Grappling Industries in San Antonio, first out of 56 teams. So I think it's totally possible to train safe, train smart, and still be pretty damn good at competition. So I feel, and
Mm-hmm.
my wife, only like a couple months, or was it a month ago, uh, got gold at American Nationals in brown belt for, I think she was up a weight class because she's quite small. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, we can get it done competitively. I don't feel any inability to do that, even though I don't think of my gym as a competition team. We do competition, but the goal is good people becoming more dangerous to bad people. And I don't let bad people train in my gym.
Are there any kids training Muay Thai? Is that only adult?
Yes. No, we are actually, and we're expanding into that a little bit. It's pretty small right now in our program, but we have like a Monday and a Friday thing where the kids do some kickboxing and stuff like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We are
Mm-hmm.
planning to expand that in the coming months, actually, to having a little more longer classes of that and stuff like that. We can expand that into another option. Yeah.
Got it. Well, take us back, man. Tell us how you got into jujitsu and you kind of like what it did for your life and just kind of
Sure.
take us through the story.
Yeah, I was always into martial arts from a very young age, but like I grew up in the 80s, Enter the Dragon, The Last Dragon, all the Wu-Tang Kung Fu movies you could think of. I
Mhm.
watched all that stuff, loved it, believed it. I believed in the Wu-Tang and the Shaolin style and all that kind of stuff. I've been to Shaolin. That's how much I believed in it, actually. But
Okay. Have you seen
but
Forbidden Kingdom? Do you know what I'm talking about? Forbidden Kingdom with Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee. No, it wasn't an old one. It was like
probably,
2000s.
I don't
I
know.
love that one.
Maybe. Yeah, I loved all that stuff. And I did various martial arts, very small scale, but I did try a number of martial arts over the years and over my travels. I lived in Japan for 2 years. I was exposed a little bit briefly to like Aikido, and I thought it was super fun. And I was exposed a bit to some judo, jiu-jitsu. My friend just whipped my butt and was like, "Oh, that was interesting." And then somewhere when I was living in South Korea, about I think about 3 years into living in South Korea, I was actually starting to become a big UFC fan, and I was hosting a UFC party. People were watching it at my apartment, and one of the guys said, "Hey, they do this stuff up the street at the university," and it was the university that I was working at. So I just
Mhm.
showed up. And I think I even showed up with a gi. Like, I think I got a gi even before I came in. But like, I showed up and just proceeded to get my butt whooped for like an hour, basically. Like they barely taught anything and then just whipped the crap out of me, which is not how I start people in jiu-jitsu, but that it was the way that it was at that time. And I walked off the mat and I thought I was just blue belts and purple belts, but I thought in my mind, these are real life ninjas. And if I could do what they just did to me, I would be like over the moon, so happy to be able to do that. And I'm a
What
black
year was
belt,
that?
first degree. In
Around what year?
2008. 2008.
2008.
Hmm. Yeah, and I thought like, man, just I was so blown away. I hadn't even seen a black belt yet, so I was just like, oh my god, this is like these guys are amazing. And it took me a little bit, and then I started reflecting on my experiences with other martial arts, and I realized that they simply did not uh, hold a candle to what I experienced with jujitsu. No offense to any of those guys. Everybody I trained with was great and wonderful people, but like there was a required sort of belief that like you had to believe this will really work when we get in like a fight because there was no aliveness process
Mm, yeah.
versus like when I did it in jiu-jitsu, like all they told me is I can't punch or kick them, and like they just manhandled me like so easily, and I was like, I'm doing everything. Whereas like when I trained Aikido, it was like, no, you need to do the move just like this so I can counter it and stuff like that. There's so much like
Yeah.
restriction, and it was like when I think now of like my coach and how little he doesn't need anything. You could just fully resist him. He's just going to come at you and still throw you on the ground and choke you. Like it doesn't
Mhm.
matter. Like, and whereas like the Aikido, sorry Aikido guys, but my experience was actually super fun. I had a great day when I was doing the Aikido thing. I thought it was awesome actually,
And you're
but
talking about the
compar-
training, of course. We can
but
premise it with that, sure.
yeah, but like, and I'm sure it's super fun, but not comparable in terms of real world outcomes. So sorry, that's my experience. Like, I'm happy to take an Aikido Masters challenge on that, but like it's
Yeah,
yeah.
you get my point what I'm saying, right? I mean, I know you're probably referencing, how it will play out in the real world,
Mhm.
a fight. But if you want, you could just say, I'm just talking about the training itself,
Sure.
you know,
Yeah, yeah.
and that is what specifically you're referencing. You're talking about the
Sure.
training, and there's no live, yeah,
It's no like yeah.
resistance, yeah.
Hmm. And that makes a big difference in terms of the choices that you make and what's going to be the outcomes. And yeah, it makes a big difference. So I think jujitsu has borne that out over the last like 30, 40 years as very legitimate for really dealing with situations. Um, yeah, that's just what it is. Like, yeah.
And how did you get into teaching jujitsu? How did that come about? Is that something that you wanted
I
right away?
never expect. No, I never expected to do it. I sometimes would help people on the mats and stuff like that when I got to be a higher belt. Maybe someone had a question about how to do something, and I try to help them. And then it was really what made me open the academy was my wife, as someone whom I met in South Korea. And my wife was a freelance interpreter. She had a tremendous career and she was at like the peak of her career, really, and did that for a decade and then just decided she didn't want to do it anymore. Just was like, I've done this. There's nowhere else to go. There's no higher to go in what she was doing, really, or where it was higher wasn't very appealing. And I mean, she'd done like the UN, heads of state, everything. And she was like, yeah, I don't want to, let's move to America. I told her she was crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, you're crazy. We both had good jobs. I was a graduate school professor. She was a freelance interpreter. I mean, these are jobs that people work very hard to get to,
Yeah.
and we had worked hard to get to. And but she was like, no, we only live once. I think it was. I'm so glad she pushed that way. I would have otherwise probably kept going. I thought I was going to be in Korea pretty much for the rest of my life, and it was like we're going to move to the States, and I had to think about what I wanted to do. And I initially thought I'd go into some sort of just teaching of an academic nature. And as I kept thinking about various things I could do, I kept thinking about wanting to keep doing jujitsu, but really liking the way that I trained and wanting to probably think about kind of opening my own thing. And then just conversations with my coach, John Frankel, um, kind of he started pushing. He was like, you should talk to the guys at SBG. They know how to run gyms really efficiently. That information wasn't there years ago when I tried to run a gym. So my coach does not run a gym, although there are many gyms named John Frankel Jiu Jitsu in South Korea, like a lot, like, I don't know, 20 to 100 or something. So he brought Brazilian Jiu Jitsu to South Korea, but he
Yeah.
has but he has a day job, and his day job is teaching Korean to English translation. He has a PhD in Korean literature, and he's a true Renaissance man, basically. Right now, he is the what is he? Is the dean of Underwood College at Yonsei University. So he has a very legitimate day job, and he just has this organization that sprang up around the jiu-jitsu that he brought, and he oversees it and things like that. There are tournaments in his name, the John Franklin Jiu-Jitsu tournament and stuff, but he doesn't run a gym. He ran a gym a long time ago and didn't like it. And so I asked him, I was like, you ran a gym, you didn't like it. Why are you telling me to open a gym? And he's like, yeah, but when I ran the gym, we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know how to run it like a proper business that provides like a quality product to people and stuff like that. We just taught jujitsu. We didn't really understand all the rest of the trappings and the workings, which are quite substantial. And I went and I talked to Matt Thornton, the head of SBG, and we sat down and kind of talked about running a gym and I tried to understand it from like an economic model and all that kind of stuff as something that
What
could
does
support a
SBG
family.
stand for?
Straight Blast Gym.
Okay,
Straight
got it.
Blast Gym. Yeah. But after that conversation with Matt, I was pretty much sold. I still thank Matt all the time for that conversation. I love what I do now. I work way more than I did when I was a graduate school professor, and I'm much happier. And I'm much happier.
Yeah.
Like, so I used to have 5 months of paid vacation as a graduate school professor.
Oh my God. Yeah,
And
yeah,
I don't miss it. I don't miss it. I like what I do. I enjoy coming. I don't even think of most of what I do at the gym. I don't consider work. Like I just came out of a class. I was just teaching back crucifix. That is not work. That I enjoy all the way through. Maybe don't enjoy some of the administrative things that I have to do, but those are relatively limited. And there are ways to systemize things so that they don't bother you as much. So, and
yeah.
I do actually sometimes help people open gyms and stuff.
Oh, really?
If you want more information on that, I do have a blog that is posted on BJJ Fanatics, and I believe the title is opening Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy, hobby gym versus commercial gym. And if you just kind of looked up Michael Heinz, BJJ Fanatics, you're going to find some of my video series. But if you put in maybe blog in Google or something like that, you'll probably find that blog. And I think if you were thinking of opening an academy, you'd probably get a pretty good primer there of like things to do. Also happy to talk to people if they want to reach out. I do it quite frequently. So
So you opened the gym as soon as you got back to the States, right?
you
I mean,
bet.
upon arrival, that's what you were
Mhm.
doing. You're planning everything.
The ground running.
And did it go well, or I mean, did he explain everything
I
well,
mean,
and it kind of went the way? Yeah.
well, no. It did. Yes and
Okay.
no. 50 members within the first 3 weeks, and then the government told everybody they had to shut down
Oh,
everything.
okay.
So,
That's when.
2 months of shutdown. After that, we had to have kind of like restrictions on the way we trained. You had to have like a designated partner. You couldn't train with more than this one designated partner because it was all the COVID stuff that nobody knew what was going on at that time. So we tried to follow things as best we could, but like, we did with whatever we could. And, but then, after that lockdown was kind of loosened in Texas, which was just 2 months for us, by the end of
Okay.
the year, we had over 100 members. So very successful in the first year, beyond, I would say, most academies, and very economically viable. And it's been upward and onward from there. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so like looking back, what would you thank jujitsu for? As far as what it's
Oh,
provided to you in your
jeez.
life. What are the 1, 2, 3, whatever things you would thank it for?
Let me think on that for a second. I mean, it is my livelihood, so I think that's already there, right? Like that kind of
Mhm.
goes without saying, I suppose. I couldn't ignore that at this stage of my life. But if I think back before that, jujitsu, particularly when I started in South Korea, I think one of the greatest things that I got from it, besides the ability to feel that I could feeling that I could confidently handle a violent hand-to-hand encounter is
Mhm.
not a small thing. The relative surety that you could handle it because you have handled it against people who are also trained. And if you have submitted people who are trained, you know quite confidently, if you've done it in a tournament, you know you could do that against an untrained person with relative ease. And I mean, I did it against untrained people that came in to try out the gym like all the time for like half a decade. I was the guy that when someone came in new and just, you'd show them what jiu-jitsu is capable of. So like knowing
Sure.
that the confidence of doing that is way different than the confidence people get from whatever self-help belief hypnosis they try to do or something like that. Like I don't have any doubt that I can handle myself hand to hand. And then that's huge because that makes you feel like you can take on so many other possible tasks in your life. The fact that you know you can do this one thing that's very real means that you feel that you could, through time, effort, and merit, like
Right.
overcome any number of tasks, right? So
Right.
that is big. That confidence is so big. Number two, I think one of the biggest things I got from jiu-jitsu was friendship. I have so many great friends that just like so many interesting people that I consider to be actual peers. There are a lot of people I associate with, but I keep the notion of peerage is not always that easily attainable for people. And I feel that I've met people who are actual like proper peers. They have similar mindsets, similar level of achievement and accomplishment. And that feels great to be able to talk with someone who can understand the paths that you've gone down. And really just that friendship thing though too. Like I lived in Seoul, South Korea. It's a huge city, which like all huge cities means most people are relatively lonely and kind of feeling isolated. There's like
Yeah.
the more people you have, the more isolated people tend to feel. And I felt that. And it wasn't easy to make friends. It wasn't easy to like get to know people. And now you're boom, smashed in with some other guy. And it kind of inevitably leads to a kind of friendship because you're in there at such a
Yeah.
close range with one another. And well, so much of the greatness of jiu-jitsu for me was just the time after we were sweaty and done and we're sitting around talking and, you know, talking about cars and dreaming about women. So it's like, just saying,
Something like that.
just similar kinds of stuff, like that
Yeah.
was, and it's,
Well, I
it's
met
not just,
somebody hit on it yesterday. Like, you're never touching other people throughout the day. You never,
correct,
right.
correct.
So it's kind of
Mhm.
what comes from that when you finally do.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
touching a stranger, if you will, or
Yeah.
there's interesting things that come from that, inherently come from that. Right.
100%. You're choking, but you're kind of hugging. So it's
Yeah.
okay, like,
Can
and
you
you
hit
have to
on?
like trust them. You have to trust them with like your own safety. You're trusting that they're going to put you in an
Yeah,
arm
even in
lock, and when you
training, right?
tap, they don't
Yeah,
stop. What's that?
even in training, right? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. You're
yeah.
trusting people all the time, so it opens you up as a person. And it's not just bonding between men. I think I've made female friends, and I've watched women grow really close together and stuff like that through jiu-jitsu. Yeah, I think it's huge. Like,
Can you hit on one aspect that you can really contribute to? I believe is like jujitsu as a business model. Can it just
Mhm.
you don't go you have to go like 20 minutes into it, or I
Sure.
know you can, but just kind
Mhm.
of tell people like what it's like, what are uh 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 the pros of it, if you want to hit on the cons as well. Yeah,
Mhm. So running a business that basically sells jujitsu.
yeah.
So the first thought is, if you're ever interested in this kind of thing, is you need to think about it like a business, okay? And don't think of it as super duper unique because ultimately the principles of business are all the same in my mind. And that is the fundamental goal is to provide a product of such quality that when people pay for that product, they feel that they are getting more for the money than what they have paid. And to me,
Okay.
that is the essence of like good business. If you pay me and you feel like you're getting less than what you paid for, then you're going to be pretty displeased. But if you feel like you're getting more than what you paid for, you're going to feel fairly pleased. And so that is the goal. Is like so product development. Just like anything, paying attention to the student, essentially the consumer. What is it that they want? What is it that they like? Not just what do you like, and like
Yeah.
adjusting to that, to the extent that it is possible to adjust that product to it. Where jiu-jitsu is unique as a product, in my opinion, is that a lot of people have a tremendous amount of insecurity about trying it. So learning how to help people overcome that and creating an environment that allows them to overcome that. That's the biggest barrier that people have. If people could just take a pill or like get it plugged in like the Matrix, everyone would take it. But like, it's the fact that they're going to have to go through in their mind, they're going to pass through fire to be able to do this kind of thing. And you've
Yeah.
got to make that something that is accessible to them. That is your biggest hurdle as a business owner. And you know, and you've got to be ready to catch all the people who are interested and funnel them and like, you know, have those kinds of things going on like a just like a proper business basically. But jiu-jitsu itself as a business is not as a good product because the product itself is super fun, super exciting, life-changing, all of that. Great product. Okay. Number two, great product because of its inability to be sort of solo scaled. Let's put it that way. Okay. So one of the
Okay.
problems with certain martial arts is that you could just watch it on YouTube and it's just a kata, just train it in your living room or whatever. Jiu-jitsu
Right.
requires people to come in. The facility is not cheap. They need that matted space. And then they need another person to do it with. And then they need someone to actually tell them how to do it. And you can watch instructionals. I have a number of instructionals on Fanatics. Instructionals are great. The only downside of the instructional is that you can see the instructor, but the instructor can't see you. So you may believe you're doing
Yeah.
it correctly, but if the instructor was there, he'd be like, no, 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 your elbow's all wrong, your shoulder's all wrong. You need to connect like this. Like, so it is a good product in that sense because like pretty difficult for like AI to replace it. You know, pretty difficult to just like someone just create a YouTube channel and now your academy no longer needs to exist. Like the fundamentals of the product are pretty significant in terms of the student process and not easy to steal away. So you have a business that is good in that regard. Like,
Yeah, I understand. Why do you think people love it there? Why do they keep coming back to the academy?
I think that the reason that people come back to my academy is because whatever they pay, they feel like they get more than what they paid for. They're getting, we work so hard to make sure the curriculum is good, it's fresh, there's newness all the time that they're getting stimulated by. We have opportunities for them to actually work on the skills in real live situations that we really keep safe. And like, I'm a consummate gardener of like watching the sparring and making sure that people are not getting out of hand. And I think that keeps people coming because as soon as they perceive it to be dangerous and if everyone's blowing up their knees and stuff like that, of which I'll knock on wood, that very few injuries in our academy. You have to give people opportunities to grow and keep pushing them in the direction of growth. That's what keeps people going, in my opinion. And I think
Right.
we do a good job of just making sure that the program is not static. It is constantly evolving, it is constantly changing, and it is constantly growing to allow them to grow more. If we just said, okay, this is what we're going to do, that's the curriculum, we're never going to like update it, that's all the moves you ever need to know, then yeah, people will get pretty bored with that at a certain point. But I'm always looking for like, what more can we do? How do we expand? How do we give people more? That's huge. And then I think the community, I think a pretty good job of just making sure I kind of watch people when they come in, and I'm only going to let good people sign up. If I feel red flags from people that they have like dark triad type psychological traits and stuff like narcissist or just something like, just to give an example, but if someone would come to my gym and be like, oh, I really need this to work through my anger issues. I'm like, yeah, have you tried some of the other gyms in town? this isn't the place to work through your anger issues. Like that's therapy. Go to therapy for that. You're not here to work your anger issues out on Bob over there on the mat. Okay. Bob doesn't deserve that. Bob shouldn't be the consequence of whatever life choices you've made. Like, you're here to have a good time. You're here to learn something cool. Great. You are super duper welcome. You're here to work on psychological issues of potential violence and danger. I have no interest in training you at all. Like,
Mhm.
that's not my job. Okay. Like, if you've got issues to work out, there are places and facilities that take care of those things. I'm not, jujitsu is great as a catharsis for stress and everything, but like anytime someone comes to me and they're like, yeah, you'd be surprised how many times someone said, yeah, I have anger management issues. So I feel like this will be really good for me. I'm not interested. Like that's a red flag right there for sure. Like, your anger management issues should be dealt with by someone appropriately trained to deal with anger and management issues, not jujitsu. But that's not what jujitsu is for. Like, it
Yeah.
could help. It could be supplemental. If they said I'm working on it with a therapist or something, that would be a different story. But like, I decided, I had someone tell me once he wasn't going to do court ordered anger management because he thought jujitsu would be a better fit. And I just told him, not here. Not here. Well, not here. It
Especially not
isn't.
since you
Like,
told me.
yeah, not since you just told me that. Like, sorry. Now that I know that, I
and,
can't unhear that. And you
and
are
everybody
going to be
else heard it.
dangerous to other people. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
It sounds like you really enjoy what you do, though. As far, I
Mhm.
mean, you mentioned, your mindset of continuously evolving the curriculum and reaching
sure.
out to new ways of putting stuff. Let's end it on this. What would you like to tell the people who go there to the academy? Is there anything you would like to say to them?
Oh, to my own students?
Yeah,
Oh, thank you. Thank you to all my students. They are the people that make my life great. And I spend so much time with great people. I don't even, in my mind, have enough time to get to know them all as well as I would like to get to know them. So, like, yeah, thank you for making my life great. And, stick with it. I know all the stuff we learn can be challenging or whatever, but all you really have to do is keep showing up and you will get there. Like that's all. Yeah.
yeah. Stay consistent. Would you like to shout out any socials? You guys are on social media,
Rather
right?
than socials, I mean, like,
Yeah.
I have Instagram, SBG Texas or SBG New Braunfels Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. You can find that. I would rather shout out, to be honest, my instructionals because I think they're pretty good. I've got
Yeah. Yeah.
one of my instructionals on Fanatics is a bestseller, Takedowns for the Rest of Us, and it's a takedown series. I did not wrestle growing up, and I had to teach myself kind of takedowns for quite a while, and then I got to train, and I train quite regularly here with a world champion wrestler, Steve Horton, and we've worked out takedown systems so that beginners can come in and instead of just learning takedowns in this sort of nebulous, like separated fashion, like what is an actual strategy for starting on the feet, standing in competition. So takedowns for the rest of us is, I think, it's arguably my best series. I've got Practical Jiu-Jitsu 1, 2, and 3, okay, which is my foundations curriculum. And coming out relatively soon, probably within the next month, will be Meditation for Grapplers. I did not talk about it, but I have a long history in the field of yoga and meditation, and I taught a whole series on meditation for grapplers. And it's not just meditation. There is jujitsu in it, and it's a lot how to escape the closed guard, more by using relaxation than anything else. Because I think escaping the closed guard is the thing that where the principles of meditation come into jiu-jitsu most clearly. So that is coming
Okay.
out
That makes sense. Yeah.
within the month or something like that. So yeah,
Okay. Okay. I think I would like that one. Tell me the name one
yeah,
more
it's good.
time. Tell me that one
Uh,
three one more time. Meditation.
Meditation for grapplers.
Okay.
But non-grapplers could watch it. You're going to get a ton of information in that. And you get basically like an 18-day kind of like how to meditate process and things like that. And then there's stuff more specific to meditation for grapplers, hence the
Mm-hmm.
name. But the
And maybe it
meditations,
relates to other martial arts as well, or they could find ways that it
definitely.
would. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much, Michael. I really appreciate your story and
Sure.
explain everything to us.
Sure. Sure.
I know it's going to do some good, man. I hope you have an amazing day. All right.
All right, you too, Cody.
All right. Take care, bud.
All right, you too. Bye.
Okay, bye.